like to welcome you to another session. This Thursday edition is getting more and more fun. The more people we interview, the more different perspectives in business we're getting. And today I'd like to welcome Kyle Stevens. Kyle, tell us a little bit about yourself and your business.
What's going on, buddy? It's been going great. And guys, sorry, the camera setup's a little bit funky today. You guys get to see my my awesome backdrop here in my basement. So, but yeah, I've been doing Amazon FBA now for, I guess, 2.5 years at this point. It doesn't seem like it. It's flown by. But it's been great. You know, I've been able to expand that to multiple six figures. Last year closed out 400,000 in sales. I've expanded to other platforms, you know, Shopify, Etsy, Jane.com, really been able to kind of expand to a lot of different platforms. This year, we are tracking to do 1 million in sales, so I'm really, really excited about that. And it's been an awesome ride.
Awesome. Now, a lot of these beginning questions we're going to try to dive into as a small business owner, like your base and where you started. And we all know that you're part of a good family business as far as the furniture is concerned. What have you done in life prior to the point of creating your own business?
Yeah. So, I was, after I graduated college, I came into the family business. I was working there during college, and really enjoyed it. And I still work there on a part-time basis just because I love what I do. I was doing that for the previous, 8 to 10 years basically. And, the whole reason I got into Amazon, my wife, at the time was pregnant with our now, 2.5-year-old daughter. And I was looking for other income streams like a lot of people are nowadays and everything. And I kept really stumbling back on Amazon FBA and got really interested with the concept. Kind of put it down, because we got busy at the store and I got busy, just in life, kind of put it away for a couple months, wasn't really, focusing on it too much. And one of our main furniture store sits near a creek bed and it got flooded, like two feet of water throughout the entire store. I mean, literally, it really put a hurting on us in terms of the overall loss and everything. And, it was something, it was kind of scary. You almost think that you're going to go out of business at one point. And our main income was predicated on the store's success, which, we've always been very successful. That was kind of my first glimpse that I need to diversify income. It's okay to still have, still draw your primary income from where it's at, but you really need to diversify income streams. So that was kind of my first, reasoning for wanting to do Amazon. And then once I got into doing it, just kind of, loved the concept of e-commerce and the potential that it has. And, we're kind of here.
Awesome. What life experience triggered your desire to be a business owner yourself? Other than like the flood, was it something that was ingrained in you prior to college, or?
Really my parents, and it's not something that we were not forced, to come into the family business or anything like that. My parents and my dad specifically always said, you got to do what you want to do. It's your life. You do what you want to do. We're going to always support you. But he had always said, if there's always a spot for you at the store. You're obviously, good at what you do and everything. There's always a spot there. And, I kind of fell in love with the idea of sales and stuff like that at an early age. And I really enjoyed doing all of that and loved the idea of being an entrepreneur, whether that was, part of our family business, because my dad's the owner, but he's always made it an environment, because I have two brothers, one older, one younger. He's always made it an environment where it's like we all have ownership of it, basically. Like we all make the decision. So we're all the entrepreneur. And that was kind of always ingrained in us, from an early age and everything. So that was always kind of the fun part of that. And then it was, the opportunity to expand and do this. And now we're starting to do e-commerce stuff, through the store. I've gotten to work with my dad on his e-commerce. I've got my younger brother, Dan, involved now and everything. So it's been really cool, but I would say they had the biggest influence on all of that, just kind of growing up in that environment and really, enjoying it and falling in love with it.
What non-business related life experiences that you experienced you feel are an asset to your business today?
I would definitely say playing high school sports. My dad coached us from the time we were 5 years old in soccer, so we, all three of us played soccer growing up. Again, it was one of those things he was willing to coach us in whatever we did. He coached us in basketball, when we were younger as well. And then as we got older, we were playing for the varsity coaches and everything, but just being a leader, doing all of that and everything, doing different things, both in high school and in college, different leadership programs. In college, I was involved with an on-campus entrepreneurship club called SIFE at the time. Now it's under a different name, I think, but it was, I went to a small college. We only had like 1,500 kids at the entire college, but we finished top 8 in the entire country at one of our, and against, big schools, University of Florida, Oklahoma was there. I mean, big schools at this competition. We finished top 8 in the country doing presentations for Fortune 500 companies on different things that we're doing around the community to promote entrepreneurship and stuff like that. So I would just say, like, being involved in different things like that, getting all sorts of different leadership aspects, both from a sports related entity and then also business. And then when I graduated college, my dad at the time was still coaching varsity soccer at, where I went to high school. So I was helping him for 5 or 6 seasons, I guess, doing coaching and stuff, coaching the younger levels and then also coaching the varsity guys. So just kind of getting all aspects of not only being a leader on the team, but also then coaching and learning how to do that.
What habits of your life do you feel become a liability to your business?
Excuse me, disorganization. My wife is absolutely the more organized one out of the two of us. Thank God she is organized like she is and cleans like she does, because, I don't keep things as organized. Like, if you could see, my room down here that I do all my work in, like, it's a hodgepodge of stuff, but somehow I figure it out and make it work. Used to be time management. And then I learned really quickly as an entrepreneur, and you're the only one calling the shots. You've got to have really good time management and schedule things out just precisely to make sure that you get everything done.
What ignited the spark, more or less, in your business? What really gave you that explosion in sales, or just in motivation, or in success through your eyes? Is there like one specific moment you can limit it down to?
I mean, to me, I would say the birth of my daughter, because it kind of coincided with when I launched my business. I waited until she was about 2 months old before I actually launched the business. I was still studying ahead of time and everything, but she was the reason that I was willing to put all the extra hours in, when a lot of people wouldn't do that. She was the reason why, excuse me, and my wife too, obviously, but she was the reason why when they would go to bed at 9 p.m., I'd be up till 2 a.m. working, because I didn't not just want to make this work, I had to make it work. It was something I'm investing my time, my money, and my effort into this. I need to make this work. And I still, even to this day, even though the business is doing very well and everything, I've still kind of held on to that thought process, that mindset, that motivation, because, I think it was Mark Cuban that said, you've got to work like there's somebody else working 24/7 to take it all away from you and to kick your ass, basically. And that's kind of the way I've always looked at it, that, I've got to work hard, and I never sleep on like an up and coming competitor or anything like that. Because I was that person at one point. I was that person, and I wanted it. And I had to figure out ways to make it work, and think of outside the box ways to make it work. But that's why I never sleep on a smaller competitor, because I was there not that long ago, and I remember that drive and that hunger to want to get to this point.
What's the one task or thing in business you absolutely hate to do?
Bookkeeping and accounting. That's why I outsource it. I love seeing the numbers come in. I don't necessarily like seeing them go out, but I love seeing them come in. But compiling all that and doing all that, I'm not a numbers guy like that. I understand all of it. I understand how to do all of it. But that was one of those things, even like at the furniture store. I'm a salesperson first and foremost. I'm VP of sales because like that's what I do. And that's kind of how I'm wired. I like to put myself in that customer mindset and figure out how to sell them that product. What can I do to convince them that they should be buying this product? Whether that's through advertising and promotion, or whether that's through getting on the phone with them or getting on the sales floor and promoting that. And that's why my older brother Brad, he's the numbers guy. He's the CFO, because like that's what he is very, very good at, is managing cash flow and stuff like that. So to me, once I started this, I was doing the numbers for a while, and then it was just like, okay, I can't focus on that. I need to focus on what I'm good at, and I need to delegate the stuff that either I'm not good at or I just don't like doing.
If you can go back to the first day of your entrepreneurial journey, what one thing would you first focus on that you may not have then?
Oh, that's a tough one. I would say not taking on too much at one point, like focusing specifically on perfecting, each part of it, I guess I would say. When I like if I go back to when I first launched my product on Amazon, things were going well. First month sales were going well. Problem is, I thought I knew better than advice that I was being given and stuff like that. Everybody's saying, hey, look, get the first product profitable, get it working well, and then branch out. I thought I knew better. I was like, hey, I did $5,000 my first month on here. Like I'm on pace to do 10,000 the next month. I know what I'm doing. So I launched a second product, not thinking about literally the whole process I had just went through and the cost associated with that and all that type of stuff. It almost sunk my business, so if I could go back, it would be focusing on an individual thing first, getting really good at it, and then start to expand on it.
What do you do to stay ahead of trends and your competition?
Just work hard. Honestly, like 90% of being an entrepreneur is having that mindset that I'm willing to put the work in, and the other thing is not sacrificing other things that I love, like my family, and making sure that I spend plenty of time with them and other things I enjoy doing. If, whether that's, if I want to watch the Super Bowl, I want to watch the Super Bowl. I'm going to focus on that. And then the business can, if I have to, I'll stay up till 2 a.m. and get the work done after, but I want to watch that game, or I want to, whatever it is. So, I would say more so than anything, just that drive, I'm going to make sure my work gets done. If I have to stay up late, I have to stay up late. I'm going to get it done.
I know furniture and Amazon can be a pretty tight business with a lot of competition. What do you do to make your business and your products unique?
For me, I always try to put myself in that customer mindset, whether, whether it's at furniture or on Amazon. At furniture, it's all about qualifying the customer. When they come in, get an idea of what their wants are, what their needs are, and then also, what kind of budget are we working with? And you might be able to stretch that budget a little bit and everything, but, getting an idea what they're hoping to get out of that piece of furniture. Is it something that, hey, look, we're just using it in a rec room for the kids and they're only going to use it for a couple of years before they're off to college? Or is it something where, hey, we're hoping that this thing's going to last us for 20 years? Well, there's a big difference in what I'm going to be showing you and what I'm going to be selling you. Same thing like on a mattress. What room is it for first and foremost? Is it a kid's room, a spare room, or a master bedroom? How do you typically sleep at night and stuff like that, to kind of gauge what type of product is best for them. On Amazon, it was all about, studying my competition as I started to identify products that I might like, not necessarily worrying about what type of industry it's in, because for me, it's not about, don't fall in love with the product, fall in love with the money that product could potentially make you in your business. So figure out a niche that is profitable, and then study the competition. What are they doing well? What don't they do well? What are customers in the reviews saying? What are they saying about the product that they like? What don't they like? And then is there a way that we can fix what they don't like and turn that from a negative for other competitors to a positive for us?
Awesome. Now, this is something that goes back to time management that you already kind of referred to, but how do you prioritize your tasks, whether it be daily, weekly, or monthly?
Yeah, so no, that's a great question. For me, Sales cures all. So first and foremost, it has to be about what's going to generate the sales. So for me, I always have to go through all my advertising avenues, whether that be like PPC on Amazon, whether that be social media, whatever I'm running, I need to go through and make sure that they're working, they're firing on all cylinders, they're profitable, which is a big thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to. They look at, oh, it's bringing in revenue, but is it profitable revenue? And then, so that's always first and foremost. After that, one of the things I started doing, and I borrowed this from a YouTube video that I was watching from Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank. I watch his YouTube channel quite a bit. And one of the things he talked about doing, and I've started doing it myself, is before you go to bed at night, write down 3 things that you have to do the next day. The 3 most important things that you have to do. If you get nothing else done, you will get those 3 tasks done, and write those down so that when you wake up the next day, you already know your day is planned out. You're not sitting there and spending 20 minutes like, what am I going to do today? And hemming and hawing over what you need to do. You've already got it written down. You get anything else done past that, and that's just gravy. You got some of your next day tasks done, but you've got to get at least those 3 things done.
Awesome. How do you manage stress?
Excuse me. I like to think I'm a pretty even-keeled person. I can tell you, being an entrepreneur is definitely going to be stressful. There's going to be times, I don't care what business it's in. And, we've seen it in furniture. We see it in e-commerce. You're going to go through cash flow issues. You're going to go through cash flow swings. It's going to happen. Those are typically going to be some of the most stressful times. It almost always comes down to, money being one of the biggest stressors, whether that's in everyday life or in business. You got to know that going into it. You've got to be a little bit of a risk taker sometimes and know that there's risk involved having your own business, but the potential payoff for it could be huge as well. I manage stress sometimes. Like if I'm like really stressed out about something, usually I'll end the night by watching either a movie or some YouTube or something like that, even if it's only for 15 minutes, but watching something that's going to put me in a good mood before I go to bed. Bouncing ideas off from either, like my dad or my brothers. If it's a business idea that I'm like really sitting there stressing about, like, should I do this? Shouldn't I do it? I'll bounce the idea off them, get their opinion on it. And talking to my wife about things. I use her a lot for like picking variations, picking things like that. Like, hey, would you buy this if you were the customer? And, she's always going to give me her honest opinion because she knows it's not going to do me any good if she's going to be biased towards whatever I think, but it's not going to do me any good if she says, oh yeah, that looks great. If it looks terrible, she can be like, no, don't do that. That's stupid. Yeah. So that having a good support around you, I think is huge. If you don't have that, find things that put you in a good mood, make you happy. And sometimes, if you need to take a day off, take a day off. We all need to recharge a little bit. You can't work 24/7, and sometimes you got to smell the roses a little bit too.
True. Now, is there a point or what, I guess I'll just drive right into it. What would you attribute your success, instead of getting too definitive on the question?
I would say a lot of it, like I said, a lot of it boils down to hard work. I would say the other thing is lessons that I've learned from my dad and from the furniture business, just kind of getting a good background on business and understanding that part of it was huge in having the confidence that I could run this business. I would say the other part of it though too is never being afraid to learn. And I think maybe that's one of the biggest keys is, look, I've obviously, been successful doing this. I've worked with many other individuals and helped them grow their businesses to 6 figures. And I take a lot of pride in that. But the one thing I always tell them is, never get satisfied, never assume that you know everything, because you don't. There's always going to be extra information out there that you can consume that could help your business. I learn something new every day, whether that be watching YouTube videos or just playing around with stuff. If there's something I'm looking for a better way to market something, I might start Googling, different ideas. Maybe, that's going into different Facebook groups that I'm a part of, where I can just kind of scroll down through and see what people are talking about. There's always something to be learned.
How do you scale effectively?
Depends on what type of business you're talking. If you're talking Amazon, it's not so much the scaling part of it. I wouldn't say is the most difficult part. It's the inventory management and inventory control part of it, especially on something like Amazon, because like if you're dealing with inventory restrictions, like a lot of us are right now, that makes it a little bit difficult because you have to figure out like, okay, where are you going to keep some of that inventory? If you don't have the inventory restrictions, it's still not an easy thing to do, because you don't want to run out of inventory on stuff if you don't have to, but you've got to keep enough inventory in stock where you're not going to run out, but also you don't want to kill your cash flow. There's this misconception, I think, a lot of times where more revenue just means that you're rolling in the money. And that's not always the case, because you've created that monster. Now you got to feed it, so you've got all these sales, but you have to back that up with the proper amount of inventory. And you've got to decide what are the best selling SKUs, make sure that we focus on them. And if you do have some slow moving SKUs that just aren't getting the job done, you got to be willing to not get attached to that product and just say, you know what, it's not cutting it. We gotta get rid of it. So, I think that's the biggest part of it is, ultimately deciding how quickly do you want to scale that product, and then how quickly do you want to take money out of the business, I think is the other part of it too. Whether you're in a situation where you need to take money out right away, or if you are in a situation where you can let it grow and you don't necessarily have to do that, it's got to be kind of your own personal business decision, what makes the most sense.
What are your most valuable skills?
Honestly, like this is something I always try to tell everybody, like anybody that I've ever worked with, because like, you get that wow factor. Like anytime that you talk to somebody that has been doing it a while and has been successful and they've got sales and everything, like everybody, like they put you up on a pedestal sometimes. And that's what I always try to tell everybody, like, look, don't put me up on a pedestal. I'm not any different than anybody else. I just work hard. I understand that, look, stuff's going to happen in business, again, to go back to Kevin O'Leary, poo happens, things are going to happen when you're in business, and you have to be willing to accept that and roll with the punches. You got to take lemons and make lemonade. So I think that's part of it right there. And then, like I said, my thought process on it is always, I can always learn more, and I'm willing to learn more. I'm not going to be satisfied and think that I know everything, so I guess that would be probably one of the biggest strengths. And then, I typically do pretty well with like advertising and sales, just because that's my background and that's what I love doing, and kind of figuring out how to get into that consumer mindset.
What are your company goals, both short and long term?
I mean, long term, short term, 1 million in sales this year across all platforms, not just Amazon or anything like that, across all platforms. I would love to get to 1 million on Amazon. That would be amazing, but I want to set like realistic goals every year. So I'd like to get, 1 million in sales across all platforms this year. Long term, I mean, hey, if somebody came along and wanted to buy the business at some point and made the right offer, I'm not going to say that I wouldn't entertain that. I mean, I would love to be able to build a business that someday my daughter could take over if she wanted to, if she showed interest in it. But at the same time, like I said, if somebody, Amazon businesses are selling at a rapid rate right now, and people are making a lot of money with them. So if the right offer came along, yeah, I could always start another one. I mean, that's the thing. I know the formula for success on there. So, I don't know that I necessarily have the long-term vision part of it figured out yet. I'm just kind of enjoying it.
I know, like for my wife and I, we try to be active in the community. What kind of things do you and your businesses do to help in the community or to be active in the community?
So, one thing that we've always done, excuse me, one thing that we've always done is, and we did this at the furniture store, and we're implementing that with the e-commerce stuff too. Every year, right around Thanksgiving, like November, basically the whole month, we'll do a promotion at the store where we will do an additional 5% off your order if you bring in 5 non-perishable food items. So it doesn't matter what it is. It could be stuffing, it could be, cans of soup, whatever it is. You bring those in, and we're gonna donate it to the local food pantry. And I started doing that with my business too, around that time frame and everything. Basically, we'll give you a discount, and then we're going to also take a portion of it and just give that either to a local charity. We're going to give that to a local food bank, wherever it's going to be most well used and most needed. So that's kind of one of my favorite things that we've always done, because I think that it really does help a lot of people. And like last year, basically, we took like 5 great big recliner boxes full of, just filled to the brim of cans of food, boxes, all sorts of stuff like that, and dropped it off in our delivery truck. And it's a really good feeling being able to help out any way we can. We'll donate products, to anybody that's affected locally by, whatever it is, whether it's flooding, whether it's, we've actually, ironically, there's been a lot of house fires lately. Just out of the blue, like in the last few months, there's been a lot of local house fires, so we always try to help out anybody, again, whether that's furniture, whether that's any of my products from Amazon, anything we can do to try to at least help them a little bit.
And our last question is, if you had one piece of advice for someone that's just starting out, what would that be?
Honestly, you can't be afraid of the work, first and foremost. There's no big secret, and Derek can tell you, you're gonna be putting in the hours. You've got to, if you want to run a business. Running a business is not a get rich quick scheme. At least the vast majority of businesses, you're not going to make $1 million overnight. It's not going to happen. You've got to be willing to put the work in. However, if you're willing to put the work in, you're willing to learn, and again, never think that you know more than the next person. Always be willing to learn. You've got a great chance at being successful. And study your competition. Okay. That's something, it goes way back to, things that, that my dad has always kind of looked at is, what is our competition doing? What can we do to stand out to the customer? How can we make ourselves different than what they offer and provide value at the same time? So, I would say those are kind of the biggest things, is how can we provide customer value? Know that you're going to need to put the work in. You're going to have to work hard. And, at the end of the day, it's all worth it, and never get too far ahead of yourself. Never take things too seriously, never take things too hard, because change happens all the time. Look at what's going on in the world right now. If nothing else, the pandemic brought on the growth of e-commerce, the growth of online based businesses. The digital age is here. It was already coming, and that just accelerated all that. So be willing to adapt. I guess that would be the other biggest thing, is be willing to change and adapt. The one thing constant in business, and it's inevitable, is there's going to be change. Don't be the one that's caught waiting, because you end up like a newspaper where, that you hold on for so long and don't make that change quick enough, and then you're out of a job, so have the foresight to see that while this industry is changing, I need to adapt with the change. Otherwise, I'm going to get left behind.
And as a fellow business owner, I know one of our biggest assets that we all share is time. And I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down with us and go over these questions. Hopefully this series is going to help a lot of people see what it's like through other business owners' eyes, and that it's okay to have those fears, the anxieties, and that we all fight the same type of battles. And as long as you don't quit fighting, then we're all going to end up on the good side. So in closing, the time is yours. If you want to talk to us about any of your businesses, any endeavors you've got going on, or any promotions you've got coming up, please share away.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. So my younger brother, Dan, and I recently started a YouTube channel. It's called No Tie Required. Basically, what we're going to be doing is, almost every day at this point, we're dropping videos multiple times a week, covering all aspects of basically making money, whether that is Amazon, Shopify, Etsy, cryptocurrency. We dabble a lot in cryptocurrency, just investing in general, sales, marketing, Facebook, Pinterest, anything that we've got a lot of experience doing. and have a pretty good knowledge base built around that and everything, we're going to be making tons of videos on that. So if you guys want to support that, we would absolutely appreciate that 100%. We would love that. Again, it's no tie required. We're right on YouTube. And I think right now there's about 10 videos up, and we've got plenty more that are filmed and ready to go. Just figuring out when we're gonna release all of them.
Awesome. Hey guys, again, go over to No Tie Required, subscribe, give them a few likes on all their videos. And if you're watching this on Facebook, go over to my YouTube channel, Scarlett Arrow. We're going to do this every Thursday. Subscribe so you don't miss one. And remember, God loves all of you, and so do I. Have a great day, everyone.